Together with American Songwriter, my brother-in-law, Sean Ulbs of the Eiffels, was able to talk to AK over Zoom audio. Austin, or AK, talks to us about growing up in New Jersey and how he got into hip-hop. In 2018, AK started releasing his own original music and has since been growing his social platform and streaming numbers immensely. Check out AK's new music video for Silence is Violence. And make sure to check out our Facebook page and YouTube channel for a bunch of interviews, a bunch of videos up there. And it'd be rad if you follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BringingBackPod.
We'd appreciate your support if you follow and subscribe to our podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're bringing it backwards with AK.
Well, yeah, I'm on the West Coast right now, so it's early. It's 8 a.m. over here on a Monday morning. So I got my got my drink here, my caffeine going. So I'm feeling good. How about yourself?
I feel that. I haven't had my coffee yet, but I'm definitely gonna get some. What kind of coffee you drink?
I'm actually drinking water with like this it's called a fizz stick, and it's got like caffeine and like ginseng, and it's very like very, very California. It's it's kind of like a healthy Red Bull.
Word, I've never even heard of that. That sounds kind of awesome though.
Yeah, it's I'll maybe I'll shoot you the info for it if you want to try it. It's good.
Yeah, I'll be sick.
So are you because I know you're from New Jersey. Are you over there right now?
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Cool.
Yep.
So you're a little ahead of me. You got a few more hours on the day than me.
Yeah. It's about 11 right now.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so I would love to just hear your story, man, because you got just crazy streams, all these listeners. So I'd love to hear how you got to where you are. So could you tell us a little bit about how you got into music? Just, take us all the way back to when you were a kid and knew, when you wanted to do music or when you started getting interested in music.
Yeah. So when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, like that time, I was writing like poetry in a way, like kind of just writing down how I was feeling. And it was something that I never was like, it was never something I was like encouraged to do. It was just something I like was doing. It was kind of weird, but like I always kind of was doing that for myself. And over time, my brother with his friends, they would make music, and I thought the idea of that was so cool, even though they didn't have like the greatest like equipment. So like their music didn't sound great, but I knew that they were capable of making songs. And I was like, that's something that I want to try. So I would ask them, and I remember when I asked them, they said, nah, like you got to prove yourself first to like be able to rap with us, yada, yada. So I was just like, all right, fine. So my brother left Jersey to go visit one of his friends in school. His friend went to school in Rhode Island, so he was gone for the whole weekend. But he left the microphone and the laptop that they would use to make music at at our house, and he left it in his bedroom. So once he left, I snuck into his room, took the microphone and laptop into my room, and had it at my fingertips for the entire weekend, and tried my best to just record this one song over the course of the weekend at the house. And I played it for him when he got back, and he wasn't really mad that I took it out of his room, more so as he was just like shocked at the song that I had made. And yeah, the song didn't sound like quality-wise, not great, but it was still something. And he could tell like I had flow, and like I kind of was telling like a story a little bit, and he really liked it. And it kind of like it just took him by surprise. And that's when I was like, hey, maybe I have something here. So once he did that, I had it at my fingertips whenever I wanted, because him and his friends, like the I would say like the phase wasn't really, I think it really fell off kind of. around that time. So I always had it at my fingertips. So I just continued with it. I kept working, and what I was doing was every song that I would make, I would put on SoundCloud. And and I'm basically just giving you like a whole rundown on like where it all started.
No, yeah,
so,
that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, for sure. And so basically, I took all my songs, put them on SoundCloud, and my senior year of high school, my best friend Mike Ugardi was like, "Hey, I already had the remix of Penned on SoundCloud," and he was like, "You got to do a YouTube video in some way and put this remix on YouTube because there's nobody else that had remix Panda like you. Plus, with your age, it would probably surprise a lot of people."
Mm-hmm.
So before my 17th birthday, we had this conversation like a week before my 17th birthday, and I was nervous as shit to get in front of camera and like be like, because it was the first time I was on camera, and like the shot in my room, like I wasn't confident about like my bedroom being in the video. Like it was just like a scary thing for me at the time. And I ended up just sending it. I recorded it, put the video together. Me and my brother like edited the video for YouTube on like Microsoft like Video Creator, and put it up, and it sat on YouTube for like 6 months. And put it out the day before my 17th birthday. So I wasn't lying in the title, the 16-year-old right? Yeah. And then November of my senior year of high school is when it just started catching. Like it was, one day it was at 1,000 views. Next day it was at 10,000 views. Next day it was 100,000, and by the end of the week it was 1 million.
Wow.
And out of nowhere, I was just like, oh my God, like I have all of this momentum, and people are really tuning in right now and subscribing and all of that. And I was kind of like panicking. I was just like, wow, what do I do now? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
it's a good problem to have.
Exactly. So he encouraged me. He was like, hey, like, I know you're used to doing a song a month on SoundCloud, but I think if you want to take full advantage of this and really run with this, you got to put a video out every 2 weeks on YouTube. So,
and you had all that music already, right? So you just needed to start making videos, I guess, right?
Well, that's the thing is, I didn't even think of that. I was just like, all right, now let me every 2 weeks, either let me remix a song. So I was remixing a song every 2 weeks and putting it on YouTube, and people were like, they were loving it, and I was seeing that. So it just motivated me to keep going. And eventually, for my 500,000 subscribers, like special, if you will, I made a song off a YouTube beat that I technically didn't own it, but I was able to record over it as if it was an original song. Like it wasn't a remix to a song that everybody knew already. You know what I mean?
Right.
And because it was my 500K special, that's how I got people to, that's how, like, in my head, I was like, if I do this song that's not a remix, people won't be like intrigued enough to listen to it because it's not a remix. Like that's what I was thinking. So I said, let me wait for like a milestone, and on that milestone do an original song. And because it's the 500K special, that'll give more people like an interest on clicking it. In my head, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did for 500K. And that's when people were like, we love this original stuff, like more of this. And that's when I was like, wow, like weight off my shoulders. Like I was like panicking that all these people were only going to like me for my remixes, when I always kind of knew I had more than that in me. And my fans have just grown with me ever since. And we've just kind of built like a real good relationship, I'd say.
It sounded real organic, like YouTube. It seems like the algorithm picked it up suddenly and then it exploded.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. It's kind of crazy because I think about I think about all of the different ways that things could have unfolded for me, and like the different routes different ways things could have like panned out. And YouTube was just like, my friend was just telling me, put it on YouTube and see how it could, just like put it there and see what happens. And that's basically exactly what I did. Hey, relax. I got my dog.
Nice.
But I was just like, it was just the last thing I could have expected. And,
it seems like that one decision or that one piece of advice was a real game changer. Did you see your SoundCloud numbers suddenly explode after YouTube started exploding too?
Yes, like literally they were hand in hand. Everything that I did for everything that was going on YouTube end was happening for SoundCloud, and my Instagram and Twitter, everything was trickling down, and it just was so organic. I couldn't have like asked for anything better.
So did you start thinking at that point, 500,000 followers and millions of views, did you start thinking maybe I should, when did you start thinking I should put this on, streaming services and so people can listen on Spotify and Apple Music and all that?
And okay, so that's another thing that was like another like big step for me, because I didn't know really at all that side of music. Like right. I didn't know how to like get any like a Spotify page and all that stuff, because right. I remember I was still in high school still. Like I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't. My mom didn't give me the okay to sign management until I finished high school. So I had to wait for my senior year of high school to be over before because my mom wanted me to at least get my diploma.
That's a good motivator there.
Yeah. So, but throughout the whole last year of high school for me, I was in contact with my manager, Brian, who is the guy who basically brought me everything at the next level. And that, like, whether that be Spotify, the Apple Music, like Publicist, like all of these things that I now have to help me make my dream happen. I have now because Brian is in the picture, and me and him are working relentlessly at like my craft, Right.
So you graduate. So you had to wait till you graduated. So you're in high school. You just continue to put out music, YouTube, SoundCloud, making videos. And so you kind of had a goal that you set for yourself. You said one video per week. Is that what it was?
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. Okay. I mean, that's awesome output. And so you're feeding the beast there, just perpetuating the algorithm on YouTube, and then finally you graduate and you start working with your manager. Is that when does he start setting you up for some of these things that you're seeing? You were featured on BET and Sway's Universe, and Travis Mills on Beats One. Were those some of the things that came out of press and having a manager?
Definitely. I don't think I would have gotten to that point as quickly without Brian. Also, it helps having somebody on your side who knows the business of music, but also has your best interests at heart.
Right. Definitely.
And that's exactly what Brian is. Like, I could not have asked for a better manager with Brian. Like he's literally a ride or die and will always go out of his way to make sure shit runs smoothly for me and go well for me. So honestly, like the whole way I found Brian was through Facebook, and he was
really.
Oh yeah. So basically, it's kind of a funny story. I could elaborate if you like.
Please do.
So when the Panda remix video started doing like numbers, it wasn't only doing numbers on YouTube, it was on Facebook as well.
Okay.
Somebody, like, I still don't know exactly how exactly the video went viral. Like, I literally have no idea, but I know somebody ripped the video from YouTube and put it on Facebook. Like kind of like one of those like Raps Daily type pages.
Right.
And Brian started DMing me on Facebook, but he had no profile picture, no bio, like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He started emailing me with no like profile picture, nothing. Like it was just very sketchy, and I didn't know. Like I was just like, like I don't know who this guy is.
Right. Yeah.
But for 3 months straight, he was hitting me up.
Huh.
And my brother gets a DM on Facebook, and my brother,
Oh my gosh,
never uses Facebook, like never Facebook. So he came up to me. I came home. I was knocked out. I went right to sleep after I had got back from school, and I get woken up by my brother, like shaking me, saying, "Yo, like this guy Brian Tiffy just DM'd me on Facebook, and I got the notification for it. He says he's Selena Gomez's stepfather and like wants to manage you. He's in LA. Just give the guy a call." So I was like, all right, fuck.
Yeah.
Why not? So I called him, and he literally just shit his pants. He was like, "Dude, I've been waiting for this phone call. How are you?" And I just was like, "Dude, I'm sorry. Your pages are just weird." And like, I didn't even know what you looked like.
Get a profile pic.
Yeah, dude. And we kind of just hit it off. And then eventually, like, I FaceTimed him, and I was like, "Oh shit, you're like a real person. You don't look crazy." And it was just mad good vibes. And that's when I flew out with my family to LA that April. It was my spring break of my senior year. So like we had the week off, and we headed out there for a few days. And that's when I was just like, yeah, this feels right. This feels good. My mom was happy. My dad was happy. Like everybody kind of was on board with it. And that's when I knew that once my senior year was over, that's like this was happening. And from that point forward, until I signed with him, we were always keeping in contact. We were almost even working as if I was signed to him already without being signed to him. Like we were talking about like marketing ideas and like other plans and like, oh, who should we hit up for like when you come out here to do a photo shoot? Like what kind of pictures do you like? Like we were already like basically laying out the foundation of like how we were going to be working after my senior year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. So and when was that? Because you put out music, quite a bit of music this year. With your EP, was this last year? Was this a couple years ago?
That I was like working with him, like my senior year. I graduated in 2017.
Okay. So a few years ago. And since then your music has, just exploded.
Kind of, it's absurd. It's nuts. It's like crazy about like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I'll ever be able to wrap my head around it. Like, it's so, I literally don't have words. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's so awesome.
Well, it's your preparation meeting, opportunity and probably a lot of luck too. But yeah, that combination seems to have been potent for you. So that's awesome. So you dropped an EP this year. You've dropped some singles. You just dropped your newest single this month, just a few days ago, right? Silence is Violence.
Yep, Silence is Violence.
And so what's that song about? I mean, it's I can imagine what it's about, and I've listened to it. But why don't you tell us about it?
Of course. Well, basically, during the whole climate of our country right now is kind of like we all know what's going on. And it doesn't matter what side you're on. There's a problem going on, and there's an issue with how police treat certain people in this country. And I've always wanted to say something because I know that I have an audience now.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of the topic, I was scared at first to speak on it because I was afraid of the backlash I was going to get.
Sure.
I what I did was I wrote a song. It was the first verse of Silence is Violence and the hook. And I knew that the second verse needed to follow the first verse, and like it needed to leave that imprint. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And because I got to a point where I was realizing this, like what I was talking about, it's not about me at all. Like, why am I worried about backlash? There's so much that needs to be acknowledged and talked about and not ignored. And I'm over here worried about backlash. Like, what am I doing? So I made that song, and I didn't have the second verse done yet. And in the second verse of the song, I talk about a story that I had with police, and that story is 100% true. It happened to me. I'm actually in the process right now of trying to get the body cam footage of it. Like it happened. And when it happened, it was 2 days after I had finished the first verse and the hook of Silence is Violence. And and those 2 days in between, and those 2 days in between, I was just tripping. Like, how am I going to follow that first verse? Like, what can I say to kind of like bring everything full circle and really leave people like, oh shit. And that situation happened to me. And in the moment, I was just scared. I was scared, not going to lie. I was just wanted to get the fuck out of there. I wanted to get home. And when I was on my way home, just like I say in the song, like I was just thinking like all of these terrible things that could have happened. Like it was literally just me alone with like 8 different police officers on the side of a highway, and like anything could have happened. And I was just thinking to myself, like, what if I wasn't white? And like the fact that that's even a valid question is a problem within itself. And that's when I realized the situation that I just experienced didn't happen by accident. That was God right there that finished that song for me. And literally that second verse wrote itself. I started writing the second verse the second I got back to my friend's house after he picked me up from the station.
Wow.
And the next day I recorded it, and then I sent it to Brian, and I was like, dude, I just finished this. This is true. This just happened. Like, I don't know. Like I maybe I should talk to my attorney about it. Like I don't know what to do, but this happened. I finished this song. What do you think? And he was like, bro, please tell me you plan on releasing that next. And I said, I do, because it's something that I've always wanted to speak on this, and I never have because of my fear of backlash and what I think fans were going to say, like I said. And I just kind of had to, like, I just realized that I was being, I guess selfish is the word for it. Like, what am I worried about for myself if there's so much worse going on with other people, and I could be using my voice to help and try to make it better for people and open the eyes and kind of bring everybody together in a way. And that's the reason why we chose that song as the next release. And I'm beyond happy that that song is out and the video is on the way.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome, because like you said, it can be scary, tackling issues like that. And what's awesome is it sounds like you're doing it with a sense of duty rather than, this is going to put up numbers on Spotify or something like that. It sounds like you had to grapple with actually putting it out. So I mean,
at the end of the day, that's my responsibility as an artist, especially as one with an audience. It's like it, and I'm obviously not the only one who's done it. Like,
sure.
Even with this situation specifically, like Lil Baby put out The Bigger Picture, and that song, like I had goosebumps the whole time. It like gave me a whole new appreciation for Lil Baby. And even Lil Dicky with Earth, like we love the earth. Like artists with with the intent of making a change, always know their responsibility as an artist and try to use it for good. It's not like almost like some superhero type shit. Like we're trying to do shit. We're trying to use this music for good, not just for our own benefit, you know?
Yeah, yeah, we've talked to a few artists, you know, because it's what's going on right now, you know, who have put out music. I'm not sure if you heard of Kedron Bryant, but he put out a song called "I Just Want to Live," and he's still in maybe even high school still. But he and just talked to an artist called Milk last week, and she's putting out music, you know, just addressing the issue. And what was cool about the track though too is I feel like sometimes there can be a, when you're making a song, you know, it's music, it's, you know, songs are 3 minutes, so there's not a lot of time for nuance sometimes, you know. But your lyrics did have some nuance, you know what I mean? You acknowledged it's you know, it's a complicated issue.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, awesome. So check that track out. That just dropped 3 days ago. And you have more music coming out in the next few months.
Oh yeah, we got music for days, man. Especially during this quarantine and COVID and everything that's going on. I've been locked in my bedroom, just like making as much as I can, trying to get better at my craft. Like my main focus when quarantine started, I was like, I got writing down. I can record well. Like I know how to do all that. It's like, let me try to dive deeper into production, because it was always something I was dabbling in, and I had a few songs out that were produced by me, but I wasn't 100% like still like confident in my production and mixing. So during quarantine is when I just kind of was going ham, watching every video on YouTube on how to like sidechain kicks with 808s and how to make my kicks punch through the 808, and like just like different mixing things, like vocal mixing, and even just like production and arrangement, and like practicing like the scales on my piano, like basically just trying to get as good as on that side of the craft as I am on the writing and recording aspect of the craft. So it's been awesome to actually be able to witness my own progress, and that definitely is something that keeps me motivated.
Yeah. Isn't it awesome how everything is on YouTube that you could ever want to learn? It's just, I mean,
everybody who asks me, yo, like, where do you go to school? I go to the University of YouTube.
I mean, it's free. It's crazy. You know, that's like a new thing just in the past, like 10, 20 years. Like before, people had to pay, you know, thousands of dollars or find the right mentors. But like people are so generous with their time and their energy and just putting everything on YouTube. It's awesome.
Yeah. It also helps that YouTube pays those people through ads.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
But definitely.
So AK, amazing story, man. Looking forward to the new music. Until then, we'll be bumping everything you already got out. We like to end the interview by asking if you had one piece of advice for aspiring artists, what would it be?
For aspiring artists, I would say this is something my dad always told me, but make effort for your happiness. If you're feeling like overwhelmed, or you're feeling like you're not doing things the way you want to be doing them, you got to make an effort to make sure that things are going the way you want them to go, because at the end of the day, this is yours. Like, you're the one that's going to be looking back on this saying, oh, I remember when I was in the studio doing this, or I remember when I was so excited to put this song out, rather than you looking back on it saying, and the memory of that song's release or that clothing drop was, oh, like I remember like, nah, I didn't even want to do this one, but I had to do it for the sake of this, or like this business thing is why I needed to do it. It's like, as an artist, you want to be able to look back and be proud of everything you did and remember the excitement of everything, rather than looking back on it as like a negative thing. Like like I said, if you're overwhelmed, it's okay to take time to just get away from it and figure your thing out. It's never something that's like bang, bang, bang. You can take your time and go into everything like well thought, and you want to do everything your way. Don't let anybody control what you do.